All right, we're back. We're back with Sunday night live rumbling, man. See what's going on with all the riffraff we got in here tonight. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Okay.
We got to get an update. Copperhead last week we was talking to him about 10 minutes after the show started. He just fell over. He just fell over and he was gone, man. You okay? Everything okay down under?
Yeah, we had one of those big kangaroos come in. We had to go sort it out.
Oh, like in the house?
Nah, in the yard.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Did he bring you any car parts?
No. Car parts
What's
are
that-
rare
what's-
commodity over here.
What's the kangaroo taste like? Does it taste like chicken, like alligator and stuff like that?
No, it's you'd probably like it. It's a little bit gamey, but it's not bad. You just can't cook it too much. Very tender.
Is it?
Is
I
it
think-
good with Vegemite on it?
Pardon?
How much?
Is
How
it
much?
good with Vegemite? Put a
No.
little Vegemite on it?
No.
You might have to check with Steve on that one. He's the Vegemite expert now.
I don't think there's anything good with Vegemite. I've tried
No.
everything I can think of. I've rubbed it on my toenails.
A garbage
and everything.
can.
Yeah.
Nah, you just got to have it right. Like, if you did what I said, just put a little bit on a bit of toast with butter, and then you'd go, oh, this ain't bad.
Yeah, little bit extreme,
Or you-
little bit.
Or you leave it off and say, "Hey, this is great."
Yeah, it really. I've tried it, like you said. It's not bad. It's got a. It's. I mean, it's not got any beef in it, but it's kind of got a beef flavor to it. It's kind of crazy. It's a weird flavor, but yeah, I can see where it would be good on certain things and certain things it wouldn't. But I've never tried it in my life.
That's
but,
all. That's all I've ever have it with is on toast, and then maybe put some cheese on top or avocado or something. But that's about it. Like, yeah, we don't really use it for anything else.
let me ask you something, there, Copperhead. Do y'all have mayonnaise down there? Like mayonnaise? Do you know
Yeah.
what mayonnaise is?
Yeah.
You have like Duke mayonnaise. You ever heard of Duke mayonnaise?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
What about potted meat? Do y'all have potted meat?
Oh,
What?
Steven,
No, I don't know.
you-
What do you call? What's that? Is that like
It's a
spam?
little. Yeah, it's a little. It looks like kind of
like
spice
spam.
can in a little can.
Like
And
Yeah,
then-
yeah, like, and it's in like a little square can.
we had a little round one.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Just wait here. I'll go find one.
that-
Come here.
This is
Oh,
what
I hope
he
he doesn't
got
leave us
right
again.
before he turned over.
That's right.
Yeah.
like the horrible little Vienna sausages too.
Oh man, monkey peckers.
Yeah,
There he is. Is he going to sit down? You got it. Safe.
hey, there you go.
Oh, man. No.
Now
but
the
that-
only good ham, you got to actually use spam. You got to have spam.
Yeah.
Yeah, spam. I was going to want.
yeah, that's spam to us up here. Y'all, is that what y'all call that spam?
Yeah, that's what this is. This is just a different brand. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
No,
Yeah,
no.
good kind, man. I don't know. Any other kind of tribe is terrible.
No, I'm a big spam eater. I love spam. I love
Yeah.
potted meat. Golly, I love
So what's
spam.
potted meat?
I'll give you a quick story on spam. That saved my grandfather in World War II. Before he even got over to the European theater, he got snowbound in Maine, and the snowbanks were higher than the B-17 he was flying, and he got snowbound for 5 days, and all they had to eat was spam.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
So
I'd
what's
be okay
potted
with it.
meat?
It's
I'd be
just
okay with that.
It's a little can of. It's just a little round can. It ain't no bigger than a. I mean, it's about like a roll of black tape, and it's just a spiced ham that's left over.
Underwood deviled ham.
Yeah, I don't know what you would
Like a
call
little
it.
tin of tuna.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah,
like a tin of
that's-
tuna.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but y'all don't have like your mayonnaise. Do y'all have what's called Duke mayonnaise, or do y'all have like no? Y'all just got sandwich spread or something like that.
Yeah, just mayonnaises, or there's different flavored ones that you can get, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Duke mayonnaise. It was developed in Greenville, South Carolina, down here in the South. So that's what I like. Flat Broke, man, what have you been up to? You ain't been here. I've been seeing all kinds of video. You've been selling cars right and left. I've been seeing that.
Well, I kind of donate. Here's an interesting story. I found a guy down on his luck, right? And he needs a pickup truck for work. He's got no money, really.
Right.
He's really down on his luck. I'm like, well, how much money do you have? you know? So he showed me. I go, well, that's not near enough. I have a 95 F-150 that was my shop truck for the power tour that broke down. But
Right.
but he really needs something bad. I'm like, look, dude, I got brand new tires, brakes, shocks, fuel pumps. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff in it. I said, here's the thing. I'll give it to you for what I got into the tires and the fuel pump. And I said, you can come up with that. I'll give you the truck. I basically just giving it to him, just trying to recoup a little bit of my parts money.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, great. He said, I'll come over a couple $100. I'm going to give him the title, go on the trust thing, and hopefully he pays me. But he didn't even show up. I stripped the truck down, emptied it out, cleaned it. And the guy didn't even show up. So I'm like,
he goes on.
That sucks.
Man, you can't do that. I know you're trying to help people, but some folks you can't help. I'm just telling you.
I put it out there, and I don't know.
Don't be nice. You get nothing if you're nice.
Yeah, they will. He'll take that truck, and I used to be in the car business. I know how that works on that. I'll pay you on Friday stuff, man. It never comes.
I got extra keys. I used to be a repo man. So
hey, I did too, man. I picked up cars. Who'd you repo for?
Ford Motor Credit.
Yeah.
And actually, the company I worked for was called Axle Towing or Lincoln Park Towing. Right. And if you go on any YouTube songs or anything, there's actually a song called the Lincoln Park Pirates. And they were the most notorious towing company in the city of Chicago. And I worked.
Yeah. I know a lot of stories of that one.
All right. I want to repo in Chicago. I picked up in Atlanta. I worked for, mostly North Georgia. Yeah. But I worked for Omni Recovery. We picked up for GMAC or General Motors and Ford Motor Credit, all of them, BMW, you name it, we picked up for. Funny thing that I always run into, of course, I ended up getting, did you have a snatch truck? I had the 8-second record. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We call them Eagle Claws back then. Yeah.
I had an Eagle Claw. Yep.
Yeah. We used to use key punches back in back in like the late 70s, early 80s, we could punch out the keys.
Right. I didn't have that.
Yeah, we had a key punch. That was Ford Motor Credit would give us a key punch.
Yeah.
And there's only, here's the interesting thing. Back during then, there was only like 12 keys, really.
Yeah. We had a key code. We'd always get a key cut because we had a key code, but 80% of the time it worked. But then the other 20% of the time when it didn't work is when you really needed it to work 100%. So anyway, I ended up getting the 8-second record, but I had a lot of fun with that. But the funny thing about it, you'd go repossess a BMW or a Cadillac or something really, really nice. And they'd like, oh yeah, no problem. Let me get my stuff out. La. But you go pick up like a dang Escort or a Ford Pinto or something. They fight you over it, man. Well, you ain't taking my car. I'm like, man, I'm doing you a favor here taking this piece of junk. But
it was the opposite for me. It was the rich people with the Lincoln Town cars and stuff. They were privileged. How dare you come in my neighborhood and take my car in front of all my neighbors? And I'm like, it's not your car. Here, I got the paperwork. It's not. We're calling the police. That's fine. But then the one I ran into was like the working mope, the plumber, the carpenter or something.
Right.
And I'd go there and the guy's like, dude, all my tools and stuff are in here. Can you come get it tomorrow? And the guy that really needed it, they were what we called them the surrenders. Yeah. Where you'd go there, you give the guy a day to clean his tools and work stuff out. And they'd be surrenders. But the privileged people, the one with all the money, they were the ones throwing their fit in their front yard and calling the police.
I never had any problem. I had one incident that was very serious. And I had about 3 guns pulled on me the whole time I ever pulled cars. But I had 3 guns. But I say really nothing serious because, they didn't shoot. So I guess that was it. But they sent me to get a car. And they said, do not make contact. But the way it worked out, the car was in the garage. And I thought, well, I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to see if I can talk them out of it. And when I answered the door, there was a woman. She was almost 9 months pregnant, opened the door, and she had a 38 just right here. I mean, pointed right at me. And she says, can I help you? And I said, I was freaking out. I said, yes, ma'am. They sent me to pick up your car. I'm the repo guy sent to pick up your car. And she said, do you have paperwork? And I said, yes, ma'am, but they won't hold off them bullets. And she said, let me see the paperwork. So I give her the paperwork. She slammed the door. Now, I ain't kidding you. I was freaking out because she's pregnant. Her hormones is going a little bit weird. She could have killed me and got off scot-free,
Yeah.
So when the door shut, I made a beeline to the truck. But by the time I got the truck, she was raising the garage door up. And her and her husband had separated, and they was having a lot of problems and all that kind of stuff. But after all that said and done, she let me have the car. But, man, I thought, oh, Lord, I'll see you in a minute because it's over with. But, man, that's pretty serious.
My last repo was a guy knifed me in the leg, and the knife tip broke off in the bone.
Yeah.
But I was underneath it trying to disconnect the transmission.
Right.
And he came out of a bar and he said basically he was going to politely castrate me.
Right.
And luckily he was so drunk he missed and he stabbed me in the thigh. And I said, this ain't worth the money. I said, that's it. I'm out of here.
I'm done with that.
It was the last one. So
We used to have more fun with that wrecker though, man. It's self-loading. If y'all don't know what an 8-second wrecker is or an Eagle Claw, you just back underneath the car and it hooks it. You just pick it up. You don't even get out of the truck and you can drive off with the car. When we'd go down to Atlanta, some of them big old the malls down there, and we'd pick somebody's car up in lot A, and we'd take it all the way around the other side of the mall and put it in the parking spot and set it back down and leave. And I know that they come out. I was parked in A. Somebody stole my car, and I'm sure the cops got there and they found it on the other side of the. I don't know why I thought that was so much fun. I just thought that was fun. We did that a lot. I'm sorry. Lord forgive me.
I don't miss it. So hopefully it looks like I don't have to repossess this truck because he never even came and got it.
So how many cars have y'all sold down there at the junkyard at the Honey Hole you've got? Have you been moving a few of them out?
Yeah, more motorcycles, believe it or not. I think 7 motorcycles sold, high-end motor, not high-end, but more of a bigger dollar motorcycle. There's been interest in the 80s cars, if you can believe that. The Toyota Celicas and, stuff that I walk by, but there's tuner guys going crazy over these. There's a Datsun in there and
the rotary motors.
Yep. So, and Mazdas and all that kind of stuff. So those have been kind of going. What else was it that he just had?
How about the Belvedere? Is it still down there? Every time I wake up, I think about it. The white Belvedere's been hit hard in the front, right, left.
It's moved. So I don't know what happened if they moved it for pictures, but that ain't a bad car, really.
I remember when that thing sat over here at Union County. I know where that car come from, but it's been hit pretty hard on the left front.
Yeah, but it's nothing that really can't. Money fixes everything.
Yeah, money fixes. If I had Copperhead's money, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd just go down there and buy that thing.
We have no more potted meat for you then, or the big pots of meat,
Yeah, that's a good looking car, but I didn't know. I see y'all keep putting up videos where you got back down there looking at cars, and then you got somebody else, another channel or something's been down there you took down. He's been putting up some stuff.
Yeah, who was that's now I feel horrible. Hot Rod I can't. Russ is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he put some up, and that's why we got looking at that Impala SS, that golden anniversary. Right. That car truly is one of 300 ever built.
Wow.
And we checked the numbers on it again. It is one of 300 built. I'm surprised nobody snagged it up. And I did put a video up of it. There's been a certain amount of views, but it is pretty far gone. But I did find he has another 62 SS Impala 4-speed sitting there. A tree fell on the roof. You could take the two and, have a golden anniversary Impala.
Yeah. That'd be a lot of work.
It would be. Well, yeah, like I said in the video, way above my pay grade. So,
Copperhead, I was wanting to ask you last week before you got kangarooed. I was watching a video. There's a lot of guys down there like you that's got YouTube channels. This one guy was showing a car, and I'm thinking it was a Chrysler Regal. I think it was a 1980 or 79 Chrysler Regal. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, I had one of them.
That's the thing up here. Chrysler didn't have Regals. We had Buick.
Oh, so Regals. Yeah, we had Regals from the 60s.
Oh, really?
So those old ones, the ones that you have, like that you call darts, I think, that are the same as what we have, the Valiants. Yeah, they come out in Regal too. So Regal was just the highest trim package, basically.
It's a pretty neat looking car, from what I can see. But they've got. I just wonder how
they went like the Regals in '63. We had Regals. So they had Valiants and they had Chryslers, but they're all made in the same place. I think they had Chrysler by Chrysler, and they had Valiant by Chrysler, and then just Valiant, and then they had Regals was just so you can get a Valiant Regal and a Chrysler Regal, and that's just a flash trim package, basically.
Over here,
he had a 6-cylinder. It had a Hemi in it, he said, and he took it out and put a 360 down in it.
So that would have been what year? You're saying it's about 80. So that would have been that's near the end. Right. So that would have been a CM. They would have called that would have been the model, a CM, I'd say, CMCL. Big boat looking things. They come out with a 245 Hemi and a 265 Hemi, and then they come out with a 318 and I think a 360.
Well, now when he opened the hood, under the hood had that Valiant A-body look as far as the inside of the fenders and all that stuff looked like a Valiant to me, but with a different complete body. But as far as it's like like the Fox body Mustang, when you raise a hood on a Ford, you can tell if it's the Fox body platform. It looked like the Valiant platform or the A-body platform.
That kind of shape started early 70s. Like it changed a bit, but it's all sort of similar shape from early 70s to I think 81. They stopped, I would say.
So were they pretty good cars?
Well, yeah, I was a Valiant person, so that's what I liked. Whereas most people down here are either Ford or Holden. Back they used to be like the Greeks and Italians used to love the Valiants, and the Aussies liked Ford and Holden. But I always liked weird shit, so I liked the Valiants. So the Valiants were normally, or the Chryslers were normally a little bit above, like a few years above the others. Like they would have stuff the others wouldn't. So like that one you were looking at, if it was a Regal, it would have come out with electric windows and an aircon and power steering and tilt steering and all this sort of stuff the others wouldn't have had. So, yeah, I don't know. They didn't handle. They would have. That'd be. I'm gonna look one up, like a better looking one.
Well, now he said that I'm asking this guy. Y'all ask any questions you want to, but I was wanting to talk to him about this last week. He said that Mitsubishi actually took over Chrysler in Australia. So
so
I did not know
Chryslers were made in Adelaide. That's where I came from. That's where they were made, and then Mitsubishi's bought them out because they were struggling. So Mitsubishi's bought them out around that 1980, 81 mark. So that I don't know if I've showed you those little Sigmas.
Yeah,
I'll show you them. There's a Chrysler Sigma, and then it turns into a Mitsubishi Sigma. But once Mitsubishi took over, these things stopped. So there's the two-door version of what you're talking about. That's a VJ.
Cool car.
So that's a two-door. That's like a Chrysler by Chrysler. They were worth big money, but and they did these in the Chargers as well. They all come out. So this is a couple years before the one that you said.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. This is like so these are VJs. These are like 74s. That's the four-door one that you would have been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one that you were saying, though, that would have been a CL. So this is a CL Valiant. So it's basically the same, but this was just a slightly different fronts, but it's all based on the same sort of shape. Yeah,
looks Valiant.
Looks like an Impala.
That's it exactly. Allen cars and stuff. Hello, guys. I'm sorry I didn't have this stuff on here. Yeah, that's the one I was looking at. That's exactly the one.
So they did them in the Charger too. So I don't know if you know what the you have Chargers over there too, don't you?
Yeah, ours is big cars. Good morning, Copperhead. Look at that, Michael Beeman. Good morning, Copperhead. It's morning over there for him.
It is morning, everyone. So here's the that's the where we. I've frozen. Have you?
No. You're still moving.
Is
that showing?
A little lower.
Little lower.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool car.
So looks like a Charger. So they're worth an absolute fortune.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like ours.
They're all the front end of like, so there's the two-door, the four-door, or the Charger. Like the front will all be the same, you know?
Right. Yeah, you know our Chargers. We got like the Dukes of Hazzard. You know, it's a big car. It's a big car. It really is. I think that Charger we got weighs. I think it's about a 4,800. Is it? If I might be mistaken, but I think it's a 4,800-pound car. It's a big car. That Charger is. Unfinished projects W300. Yeah, we got it running, but I don't know what we're gonna do now. There's a lot of rust on that thing.
Which one's that?
I just done a video on that W300 truck we've got.
Oh, the truck. Yeah, that was cool. That was a good video. That one.
Yeah, that's a big truck, man. We used to haul wood in that thing. That's what that truck was bought for. We could haul wood.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
You need to put the patina juice on that.
There's a lot of rust, man. I don't know. The whole cab's rotted off of it. The top's gone off of it. Now, what's that? That's a Dodge Dart.
That's a VE Valiant two-door, but that's similar to your Charger, isn't it?
No, that's
Dodge Dart.
A Dart would look like that. A Charger was bigger. Charger had a completely different body. That was an A body.
Yeah, that's a Charger. That's a Dodge Dart right there. That's just like the one that 4-door.
So this is it from the back.
Yeah,
that's a 60.
Dart.
69. That's a 69 Dodge Dart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a 69 VF Valiant Chrysler Valiant.
So I wonder why they didn't just leave the same front ends and stuff on the cars. I mean, it looked like it'd be cheaper on them to manufacture the same car and just send it to Australia, but they've changed the front end and the back end on them. I mean, like the grill and the inserts and all that stuff are different on your cars than they are on ours. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like they just sent the same dies down for the major panels, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand the name change because a lot of times they'll change the name of something because something previous already had that name. Like with the Buick LaCrosse, they didn't use that name up in Canada because in French, lacrosse was a sexual deed.
That makes sense.
So they didn't, and the Nova's never sold good in Mexico because Nova was no go in Mexico in Spanish, I guess.
Well, I always thought the Dart Swinger was kind of a funny name, Swinger. I mean, everybody knows what that stands for.
He knows everybody.
Back when Swingers, I think that was. I don't think it quite meant that back then. Or maybe it did, man. The 60s were weird.
There was a lot of time. There's Paisley in that car. The one done in the junkyard. There's Paisley in there.
Remember the mod tops? The Mopars did the mod tops for a while.
Yep.
They were very rare.
And the flowers.
Which one's got the Paisley top on it there, Flat Broke?
No, the seats, the Swinger had like some kind of Paisley stuff on the interior.
Yeah, they had some neat stuff. Yeah, they had an alligator skin rooftops and and then that mod tops.
Back in the 50s, Kaiser had a car called the Dragon, and they had alligator skin interior and everything in them.
Huh.
Wow.
They went out of business.
Yeah. Lucky for the alligators.
Them mod tops, as you call them, man, they're rare. I mean, they're super rare. They were some of that funky stuff from back in the Wild Weed Flower was popular.
All flower patterns.
The old Andy Warhol tops,
Yeah, that's what it was. Jim, what have you been up to? I ain't talked to you or Sean, either one. I'm just kind of hammered down here. How's everything going up in Chicago?
It's cold up here. It's going to go down to 1 degree, I think, tonight. We had 3 inches of snow the last couple of days total. It's cold out. So, and I just finished my story this week.
Do what now?
I finished my story this week about the film's negatives from the Rocker Files opening sequence and stuff, photo shoot that they had. So that's and I watched Barrett Jackson. I watched a lot of money change hands, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've been watching some of that too on Barrett Jackson. I read that story you sent me, man. That was really cool.
Wow,
that was really cool. If y'all don't know what he's talking about, he's a Rockford Files guy. I mean, he knows everything going on with the Rockford Files, and they was a man that. Well, tell him the story, the one that's listening.
Oh, yeah. A guy named Richard Ivers worked for a guy named Dan Wolf. Back in 1974, they Rockford Files premiered, and when it went to a TV series, they wanted to do Mike Post, who wrote with Pete Carpenter the title song, and they wanted to do a sequence of black and white and colored pictures of the streets of LA, and so they hired a guy named Dan Wolf, who's a very big, famous photographer. Not at that time, but he was just getting started, I believe. And he went out with James Garner and Noah Berry, who played his father on the show. And they went around in LA and took pictures of them, non-posed, long-distance shots, and they hundreds of film or negatives. And fast forward, Richard Ivers ended up working for him. They moved to a new facility in Hawthorne and Dan Wolf was throwing out all kinds of stuff because he wanted to downsize. And my friend Richard, who I met through the internet, came across the cabinet, opened the cabinet up, and there's 2 shopping bags full of negatives. And he asked Dan Wolf, "What do you want to do with these?" And he says, "Oh, toss them, throw them out." So he was smart. He took them over to one of those light tables and laid them out. He looked at them and he says, "Oh shit, excuse my language. They're all from the Rockford Files. A lot of pictures of James Garner and Noel Berry, and so he, instead of throwing them out, he put them in his truck, and he had them for all these years. A couple of years ago, he got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in these things?" I said, "Yeah." So a couple years later, I ended up buying them, and I wrote a story about him and Dan Wolf and what happened with the negatives, and so now I'm processing them through a machine and actually making digitalized copies. And so now I put a bunch of them out there, and I've got hundreds to go. And but these are the best ones that are out. So
Cool.
that's
It's
the
really
story.
pretty cool. And he gave
Yeah.
like $2 million for these negatives, so it's a pretty big deal. Wasn't it $2 million? Something like that, I think it was.
You know, if I had the $2 million, I could go out and buy one of those cars that they sold yesterday at Barrett Jackson.
Man, I'll tell you, we went out to Chattanooga. They had that Chattanooga festival thing out there, and they had the Mecum auction, and I was out there on the floor looking at them cars going through. And like, man, you're watching that on YouTube, and I'm telling you, when you're down there next to the cars, they don't look near as good as they do on the screen, man. It is just amazing to me what them cars are fetching and what they really look like. I'll never buy online, especially that kind of money.
No. My neighbor built one and sold it at Barrett Jackson. He got $180,000, I believe, for it. A local guy. They build one pickup truck every year, and they sell it at Barrett Jackson. And it was a 54, 55 Chevy pickup, S10 frame. Nicely done. They got $180,000 for it.
You know, what's cool about that is, you got these guys out there and they're drinking.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it becomes a peeing contest of who's going to buy this car. And that's where I think a lot of this stuff goes. I mean, charity cars, you understand, but some of these cars are just unbelievable amount of money.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, the problem with them is that gets televised, and then everybody thinks that every old clapped out Forder they have is the same as a SS 396 or something. All of a sudden, they think that their beater is worth $150,000, so it jacks up the prices for all us regular folks,
That's the way I am.
I'm
Barrett Jackson.
on the flip side to that, though, now I have a friend that built a 40 Ford that he put in the won the Chip Foose Invitationals, won a bunch of shows. It was called Mojo. It had a name and special builders and all this. And I know he had just under $400,000 in this car, and he showed it for a year. Well, the builder showed it for a year. Then he got it and showed it. It was used for a bunch of promotional photos and stuff. Then they refreshed it so they could re-show it, which is paint and interior. Then he went to sell it, and he only got, I think, $175,000 out of it. So, they lose a lot in that auction too.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was there in 2019 with a real Rockford file car that sold, and it was on like a 4:30 their time, and it depends on where you are in that docket. It also depends on if they will allow you time to sell it, because if you notice, when Craig Jackson and Steve Davis stop an auction in the middle, talk it up more, or might add something to it, then the price goes up more and more. And they sold that car, the Rockford car, for $115,000 with buyer's premium. It was $105,000. And I swear, if they had let it go a little longer, made a stop, did a little more of a plea, because it was James Garner's personal car, I think they could have gotten a lot more money for it. But again, it depends, who's helping you sell it and stuff, and what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just mind blowing to me when I was out there at Mecum, and I mean, they were some good looking cars. They were some seriously good looking cars out there. But there was a 70 Dodge 4-wheel drive step side pickup truck they went through there. And when I looked at it, I thought, oh, I got to check that out. We got over there from 30 foot, it looked good. But once you got up close and personal to it, I mean, I picked up the floor mat, and underneath the floor mat, don't even look like it'd been touched. It was rusty, it was dirty, and then they had overspray on the thing, and that truck brought crazy money. And you'd think something like that, you would look like they just painted it and took it and it went crazy. But if I'd have bought that truck and got it home, I'd have been upset. I don't know if they got anything to any kind of insurance deal or something. If you buy it, both halves is yours if it breaks in two.
It's like buyer beware, I think.
Yeah.
All auctions down here are buyer beware. Do your own diligence. Even they even have a clause that what their description is not done by an expert or anything. It's just So
I think these people that buy it, they go, they got the money for it. It's disposable income for them, and they might not necessarily be real car people, so they don't really know what to look for. So they just go down there and spend the money, and it is what it is when they bring it home.
Well, now, Copperhead, do they have like Mecum auctions or any kind of big auctions like that in Australia?
Yeah, well, there is a couple of like we have like all the salvage auction joints, but there is like a place called Lloyd's Auctions and Gray's Auctions that have like high end cars. I've sent a few of mine through there a couple of times, and generally so I put my Pontiac through there, but it didn't reach where I wanted. So they talk them up to get the car in. So he said with my Pontiac, this will hit 50 easy, probably go over 60. Then they ring you just before the auction and try to talk you down of your reserve. So then he was trying to get my reserve down to like into the 20s and 30s. I said, no, mate, it's not happening. And it only reached 18 grand, I think. And I said, there's no way. But then I put one of those turbo Fords in, and that went crazy. Like that was like 1,000 horsepower turbo thing, but that went crazy. And I think I got like 19 or 18 or something for that. But realistically, if I could handle dealing with the idiots with that car, I probably could have pushed mid-20s private. But I made a huge profit on that car, so it didn't matter, But some things go through there and go crazy, but you got to go and look at them. Like if you're buying a big dollar car off pictures, and unless, like you said, you've got disposable income, then you're crazy.
You got to hire somebody to look at the car.
Well, we had Stacey.
No, you look like I buy all the damage stuff that I buy, the salvage stuff. You can't view that anymore. So that's all off pictures. But I specialize in those Swifts I used to, so I can tell where the hit is on a Swift to know whether it's going to have rail damage or not, so I never used to get stung with stuff like that. I know what I'm going to be in for. But if you're buying something old, like you need to go and check that out. If it's got got a skimmer bog on it, or if it's got 55 tins in it, I
go look at one. They had a service when I went to buy my Torino, my first Torino, way back about 2000. I actually paid a car appraiser, because the car was in Arlington, Texas, and it was like a couple $100. But he goes out, checks the numbers, checks for Bondo, he does the once over in the car for you, and it's well worth the $300 investment. I think,
especially that far away too, man. Just the ticket to go down and look at it yourself would have
right. Yeah.
And then you're getting a non-biased appraisal of someone who theoretically knows what he's looking at, So
right.
Well, now Sean, Stacey took that one truck of his to the auction. Which auction did Stacey White take his little Dodge to?
He took it through Mecum, but that truck, I think that truck just brought 18 or 19,000. I didn't go through no auction, and the 59 that I had so long, I got 17.5 out of that truck without even going through an auction.
Right.
And Stacey had a lot more work, labor, and stuff in his. He may not have had quite the money.
What model truck was that? That was a
54 Dodge or 48 Dodge or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 48, 49 dollars. He shortened it up and he put a good run. Stacey White's a guy around here that welds. He's an amazing welder, and he built this thing himself. I'm sure he done it right. So whoever got that truck,
it was actually a complete Chevrolet running gear, Chevrolet Camaro clip with the Camaro rear end and springs and everything. The truck handled the mountains up here, the mountain roads, like it was on a rail. It was unreal how the truck would stick to the road.
Of course, he's a dirt tracker, so he knows how to turn left and right, so that kind of helps out a little bit,
Yeah, that truck was, as far as ever who got that truck, got a really, really good, safe, a vehicle that they could use. It wasn't some, this picture thing. It was a very usable truck. And, of course, he took the fast motor out and just put a little old stock GM Crate 350 in it. But when it had that dirt track motor, son, it was scary fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Unreal. I mean, I bet the truck it had that. The only thing that I didn't really particularly like, he put that big 5-speed out of a ton truck.
Right.
One of the I forget what they call them, the new process 4500s or something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, the gear ratio in them. If he'd had a real transmission in it, it was fine for driving. And that fifth gear, I'd say the truck had over a 200-mile-an-hour top speed with that dirt track motor in it. It was
in a rat rod
unreal.
pickup truck. Yeah, ain't nothing like that. That'd be fun.
I guarantee you that it would have been a good heck of a moonshine runner. The revenuers would have never caught that truck.
Well, now, you talking about 200-mile-an-hour cars? You think that thing Copperhead's been working on this week? That little black 4-door, 4-cylinder. What is that thing called?
Hillman
Yeah. Hillman.
Hey, Stephen, you need to get a quart of Marvel Mystery Oil and get it overnighted to him to put in that motor.
Yeah.
That'll free them valves up. If you'll pour a whole quart of that Marvel Mystery Oil in it and let it run, just let it
so
sit
that's
there.
Definitely a stock valve, isn't it? That noise. That's definitely a stock valve.
High pitched tick like that. That's what I had a 40 Plymouth that sounded like that when I first started.
It wasn't there as bad at the start. It's come on more.
Yeah.
If you'll get that Marvel Mystery Oil, because now see, I didn't do no videos on it for YouTube, but that red Dodge truck that I lowered and everything, that I first bought it from my friend, and then he bought it back from me after I finished it. But he started driving it, and anyway, the number 1 and the number 6 cylinder, the valves stuck in them, and the push rods fell out. I mean, that's how bad the valve stuck. And so, he didn't want to put no more money in it because he's already maxed out really what the truck was worth. And I pulled the valve cover on it. I literally sprayed PB Blast on the valves and got them to work loose. And I kept working them a little and spray more PB and worked it. Then I got them, to where they'd work some, and put the push rods back in it, and put the Marvel Mystery Oil and drove it. That thing runs like a top now. It's running perfect.
Well, now, do y'all have Marvel Mystery Oil down there, Copperhead?
That stuff works great, man.
We don't even have that PB blaster.
That PB blaster is the ticket. That is that's the best stuff, and it stinks. I mean,
you can just breathe. You can breathe the cancer when you spray it.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's working.
Yeah. It stinks, man. That is so funny. I got COVID, and then after I got COVID, everybody says you lose your smell. Well, I didn't lose my smell. And me and my boys up there, we was working on something, and he got paint all over his hand. And I said, well, here, let's just spray some PB Blaster on it, because, WD-40 is the best thing in the world. Get paint and stuff off your hands, and that PB Blaster even works better. He's like, I ain't putting that stinky stuff on my hands. I said, no, man, this is a brand new can. It don't stink. It's got no smell. They took the smell out.
Brand new can.
And he held his hands out there, and I sprayed it. And he said, Dad, you got COVID. You can't smell this. This stuff stinks. Anyway, took me about a month later, the smell started coming back, so it's back. I can smell PB Blaster, but that stuff works great. I can't imagine they don't have PB Blaster down in Australia.
That's got a good cling to it. It's not as watery as WD-40 is, so it stays a little better.
I don't even use WD-40 anymore. I mean, honestly.
Dude, I love the smell of
I've got the Inox. I was sponsored by Inox. I don't know if you have Inox over there, but that's like a WD-40, but better. It's an Australian one.
That's probably the same thing.
They sponsored my racing, so they still they always still look after me, like, because they sponsored me for years,
WD-40's got its own designed uses, and just like the PB Blast and that liquid wrench. Do you have liquid wrench down there?
Oh, there's another one. Yeah.
liquid wrench on some of the YouTube tests that I've seen that Project Farm. Now that guy tested stuff, and you'll find out really what really works. And that Project Farm, when he tested PB and all these other penetrates, and that liquid wrench really done real good. It done better actually than PB Blast and stuff.
That's hard to believe, man. I'd have to see that.
Just watch that. If you'll go to his channel, he and he tests all these different lubricants and from time to time, but
well, now that being a flathead, how hard would it be just to jerk the head off that thing? I mean, you wouldn't look at me.
Yeah,
like
but you see,
I
the
think it's
problem
easy.
that he's going to have is that valve. That valve is you're going to have to take a plate off the. I'm sure there's a plate on the side of the motor, and you're going to see the lifters and spring in there because that flathead's different than the overhead.
Well, I know
valve
that, but maybe that plate, you could take that plate off and lay you some of that stuff you're talking about.
If the valve's hung open, he'll be all right. He'll be able to get. But if it's hung closed, he's going to have to get to the other side of it to get that stuff down in there. Which he can spray the upper side, but he needs to get in to where it goes up through the.
Right, so they've got the flathead, which is easy to take off, and it's a copper gasket, so that's not an issue. Then I think there is actually side plates in as well that I can pull off quite easily as well, and then I should be able to get to either side of it. So
this spray
the side plates is how you set the valve lash on it or something. Like it'd be the same as my straight 8 in my Pontiac.
I imagine probably the same. I know it's a British motor, different manufacturing stuff, but all that stuff was pretty archaic back then, so it's pretty standard stuff, really.
So now let me ask something on that.
I should be freed up.
That straight 8, how's that thing on power? How's that? I've never been behind a straight 8, but I love the way they sound. I mean, is it
they're
powerful?
cool.
Nah, I don't know. Mine needs a bit of a tweak.
I had a straight 8 Pontiac. That thing was pretty cool.
Well, it goes along, but it's like I could do 100. I can do what's 100K. 60 mile. I sit it on 60 mile pretty easy. Like I just don't hammer on it. But
I think most of all them, there was really never any flatheads that were known to be real powerhouses.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have a lot. Doesn't seem like it's got. I don't know. It's getting a bit tired, but like hitting a hill, I start to struggle.
I think that the way that the combustion chamber, and everything on the head, and it's just such a real insufficient design. Now, of course, the flathead V8 Fords, I'll say this, I love to hear one of them run, and it's the smoothest when them motors are tuned up right and everything. They'll be sitting there running, and there's no shake to them. They're the smoothest running V8s that I've ever seen, and I love to hear them run.
Yeah.
But they ain't got but like 3. Don't they have just like 3
main bearings?
Yeah, main bearings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that straight 8 Pontiac, and the only problem we had with that was head gaskets. That head was so long. We had it milled, we had everything done to it, but she'd always she just lost head gaskets. And we were using the old stock copper gaskets. You just couldn't get it to seat right.
No kidding. My dad had it was like a 40 or 41 Buick with a straight 8, and you could just take your foot off the clutch, just snap it off the floor, and it would sit there idling. He'd snap your foot off the clutch, and it would go, hoop, and you couldn't stall it. You wouldn't even just like put your foot right to the floor, and then leave your foot off the gas pedal and just snap your foot off the clutch. You'd hear the clutch pedal go bunk, and the motor would go dead silent for a second, and then and off it would go.
Low end power with the straight 8s.
Yeah.
Like a 6, they got the torque.
Yeah, it's just torque. I like torque, man. I'm all about torque.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, are you going to build something for the No Name Nats, or have you thought?
Well, I've been debating on that just a little bit. I really have. I'm thinking about, of course, me and my boys we argue about what we're going to do next, and we still got a couple of projects we're working on. We got the Ford Bronco, what we got from you, and we're trying to get that motor built, but I ain't having no trouble. Look, I got it over there we got the heads done and all that, but Richard, his phone's unhooked or something, which ain't a good sign, but he's got it tore all pieces, put the motor back together. So I'm waiting on that. I hate to just wait on that. Right. And then we got the Dodge at W300. We thought about fooling with that because I got everything to fix it. The cab is rotted completely off of it. The top of the cab is gone on that W300, and I've got everything to fix it. It's got a 9-foot step side bed. I've got everything to fix that. We thought about putting that truck together, but I've got that little 79 Dodge step side pickup truck. Do you remember that little tan one?
Yeah, you need to get that truck done.
I thought about bringing it out, maybe. What is that?
You've got it sitting in your front yard, and you just let the cat out of the bag showing all your freaking motors. So I reckon you should put one of those 440 big blocks in the back of that Corvair.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool.
And when you finish it, I'll buy the thing off you, and we'll send it down here.
That thing would be badass.
There you go.
I went on one of
that'd be an idea.
I went on one of John's lives and gained up a few more followers. I'm only 99 away from, or 98, I think, away from having enough to go now.
There you go.
I'm up to 401 now, 402, something like that.
Yeah.
It only took like 9 years to do that. So, but, I am a slow learner, so I guess I'm right on pace.
The car somebody gave me. I got that Cutlass. The 79 Cutlass. It would be great for that, but I got to go get it,
Yeah. And right in the middle of winter, you don't want to do it now.
No, I thought you and Steven was going up to get it.
Well, are you, Steve? Go the end of March?
I've been trying, man, but I get all this stuff come up. I reckon I just got hired down there. We had the rakes on, down at the Emerald Coast Cruise Inn, and he called me the other day, and I'm gonna go down there and MC that show. I reckon I'm gonna be down there for 4 days. Y'all to come down with that. That'd be pretty cool down at
I knew he was gonna hit you up to DJ that. I could.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
When he said he wanted to talk to you, I was like, said to the wife, he's gonna hit him up to DJ that show.
Yeah. I've done a lot of that MC work. I do a lot of that around here, but I'm looking forward to it, man. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yep. So
I'm trying to get ready for the Chryslers at Carlisle and everything. I've made up my mind. I'm right now. I have made an offer on one, but I don't know if I'm going to get it. But I'm trying to get a 3,500 maxi van to build where I can put, the little yellow van is just too small. I want the biggest van I can get.
You're going to do the Dodge Maxi Pad?
Oh, the big old.
Yes, sir. And the biggest van they make, of course, I want a 3,500 to where I can tow. I'm going to tow the satellite up there, and I've got to build a little cover to park that the front of the car under. I don't want to go out and buy a full enclosed trailer, but I'm going to build a cover to go over that trailer.
Cover that.
So when I pull that tunnel ram up over it, I don't have to worry about the weather going down in that engine bay.
The Maxi Pad. Brought to you by Free Breeze.
Yeah. I want it to where it'll be, see that 3,500 will tow if
get a painted pink.
They've got an overdrive. Of course, the thing about it is to see I'll be able to stay right there on the ground. So I won't,
summer breeze.
Yeah. No, I'll fix it up. I'm gonna have AC and everything. I'll get a generator. I'm experienced in the field. I know what I'm doing. It'll have full power and everything with air conditioning, but you won't even really be able to tell it.
Well, that thing, they put them like 4 foot or 5 foot. They just put on the very back of them maxi wagons, man.
You just glued another van to the back.
It'll fit a queen bed, and I'll be able. The problem that I've got with the little yellow street van is I've got a full size bed in it that goes, from side to side, and it's only 68 inches. And see, I'm like 6 foot, and that during the night, if I was sleeping in it by myself without my wife, I could sleep catty corner and stretch out. But with her with me, see, I can't stretch out and it'll wait. I guess I stretch out during the night, and then see, once you bottom out with your head and your feet, it'll wake you up while you're sleeping. And I just can't sleep good.
Them maxi wagons they ain't no wider than the one you got, dude.
Yeah. No, right. See, the queen bed will go all the way up against the back door, and then you can have your head towards the door or your feet, right. And see that there's enough room from the opening part of the back door on the side cargo door, to the very back of the van is almost 7 foot.
So you can put a whole queen bed behind, like you're talking behind the cargo side door.
Yes, a whole queen bed will fit back there.
That's big.
And then you still have that enough room for where you'll put a cooler and everything. And I'll probably build a rack,
double dresser,
to where I can put some stuff up on top of it. And I've got a ladder that I can mount to the door to where I can climb up and get, but I've got a full plan build in my head. Just as soon as I do have it's actually at the shop. I got it down there. It was an old church van, and I made an offer on it. The guy hadn't contacted me back. It don't look like it's going to happen, but I've got about 3 or 4 more other pinned. One is a no window maxi that's out in North Carolina. It's about 6 hours away, but it's a 2000 model. It's at the right price. I think I can get it for about $1,000. And
man, you make it a conversion van. You need to put a water bed back there in the back, not just
no. I don't want no water bed. I want to be able to haul with it. I want to be able to pull that car behind it. And
that would be a perfect power tour van too. Throw yourself in it, and all you hit the power tour yourself. No hotel worries whatsoever.
Yeah. That power tour, I think, started out as a fun thing, but now I think all it is now is you just pay to park with some other cars.
Well, no, see, it's not that. I've done it every year since 2009, and I'm actually signed up this year. I don't know if any of you guys are going, but it's local to us.
Where's it?
But it's not the getting to the venue. The venue's the worst part. It's the driving there, seeing all the small towns, getting to see the people, and it's the hotels at night. That's the fun part. That's when the cold beverages come out and the burnout contests start, and it's great until the cops show up. But I mean, it's 6,000 to 10,000 people, so it's good times.
Where's it?
It's just like a band of gypsies, then, ain't it?
Yeah, pretty much drunken idiots. Yeah, drunken idiots in 7 states. It suits me. I mean, it's.
Where's it running this year? Where's it starting?
This year it starts at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then it goes to. Trying to think in South Carolina.
Yeah, it goes up through 85 up through there.
Then you got 2 stops in North Carolina, and the last one's in Bristol, Tennessee. But they're all at racetracks, and they're all on back roads through the mountains.
What week is that going to be?
That is the 2nd week in June.
Yeah, I think it's going to
I might go to that. I could deal with that. Maybe take the Cadillac or something.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you want to do it, register now, because get on there and register and start looking for hotels, because they sell out. They're almost sold out now. And last year, Hot Rod Power Tour sold out. They stopped letting people in.
Really?
Yes, first time since, like I said, I've been doing it since 2009. It's the first time I've ever seen them sell out. And now the gold and platinum packages, they sold out the first 6 hours or 12 hours.
What's a gold and platinum package?
That's for people. That's for lazy people. The platinum packages, they plan everything for you. Your hotels, you stay at all the host hotels, and
I just had an idea. They got that no-name 500s. Now, Stephen, you've got the pull to probably put this together. What maybe we should do? We should do a lemons tour.
They do a lemons tour, don't they?
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
I had never heard of one that they do.
Touring in lemons, that's where that's where I need to be. That's more my style.
Because I mean, the golden platinum package in that would be a car that had 4 new tires.
Yeah.
The lemons one, we were going to do that. I think it was last year. It started in New Jersey and ended in Knoxville or somewhere up there.
Yeah.
So it's in the wintertime too, so it kind of adds that air of danger to it also.
Oh yeah. If a blizzard breaks out, you might freeze to death in your Volkswagen.
Exactly. So
speaking of that, Jim, I heard it's gonna get real cold up by you this week. It's gonna get real bad.
Yep.
How cold is it supposed to get? I hadn't heard.
I got a big cold front's moving down. It's gonna stop just to the northwest of us. We're gonna get spared from it, but boy, it's gonna be an ice storm right where the hot front, the warm front and the cold front stall right over like through Memphis and up, and Chicago looks like it's going to get hit pretty hard with a cold.
Chicago's going to get cold.
Yeah.
What
Are you going? Are you going to World of Wheels? Chicago,
Indiana.
Do what?
Are you in Indiana?
Oh, Chicago.
Nah, so see where I'm pointing?
Flathead.
Oh. Okay, he's from Chicago.
I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, but where are you now? In Chicago?
Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee.
Oh,
He's
because I just looked up Turtletown and it said Indiana. Okay,
Oh, really?
Tennessee.
He's one of them. He's one of them Yankees moved down here to tell us all those rednecks how stupid we are and how I did it back north. Up north the way we used to do it.
Hey, Jim, you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's from Chicago.
Too cold up there.
Yeah, Jim is.
Jim, Copperhead's looking for some land, so if you can find him some up there somewhere, that's where he wants to live.
Nah, too cold up there.
I saw it.
I reckon it's too cold where you are.
Yesterday in Hemmings,
I seen snow in your video.
Oh yeah.
Hey Jim, are you going to the World of Wheels, Chicago?
No, I haven't gone to one for a while.
Okay, I'm headed up there to hit it. So I was just wondering if you're going to be up there.
When is it? It's in February, isn't it?
It's the first weekend in March.
First weekend in March.
Hey,
I'm retired now. I might just go there.
Well, yeah, my friends.
I'll let you know because I'd love to be one of you guys.
I still belong to the car. I still belong to Windy City Alley Cats Car Club. So they put out a huge display, and I get invited up every year. Sometimes I help them do setup and stuff. But I'm gonna go up see my mom, and I'm gonna time it out, hit the World of Wheels. So I didn't know if you're gonna head up there.
Are you gonna take the Jeep up again? See if you get stranded.
I am taking it up again. Not hauling the trailer back though.
He's determined to make sure he makes a trip where it doesn't break down.
That's right.
That's right. The redemption tour.
There you go.
Did you just put a seal in it, or did you rebuild the whole transmission?
Basically, it was just a pump seal. It was just I didn't do it. They did it for me. It was just dry rotted and cracked. That Jeep sat for 6.5 years.
Yeah.
It was government owned, and basically that's like the only rubber thing I didn't replace. I had to replace everything rubber on that. I mean, it only had 56,000 miles when we bought it. But sitting disease is about one of the worst diseases for a vehicle you can get.
How many miles you got on it now?
Just turned 80,000.
That's a baby still.
Yeah,
You should be good. Crank sensor. Always make sure you take an extra crank sensor.
It's already acting up. It's got that where it cranks for a while and then catches. Yeah.
Did you get a genuine Mopar for it?
What did I get? I don't think it was. It was.
The non-Mopar ones have they have a third life. They don't even make it to half of what the Mopars do. It's a third life.
I know. Yeah, but it'll make it. I've driven it back and forth several times. I just didn't pull a 4,000-pound trailer at 90 miles an hour. Right. So it's me. It's a clear-cut case of operator abuse. So I'll be heading up there.
At least you're not one of them guys that totally blames the machinery and not the operator.
Oh no, it's me. It's me.
So how big is that show up there?
It's one of the biggest ones. I think Detroit's the biggest. I think Chicago's second. They do the Riddler Award in Detroit. That's the week before. Then all the Riddler cars come down to Chicago and they compete for, and I forgot what the trophy is in Chicago. It's like the Riddler Award.
Yeah, but you can't lean up against none of them cars and have a conversation. That's the only thing about them shows.
Well, you can.
No, you can't. It scares me. It does.
Well, back when that first started down here in Georgia, we went down to it, and I mean we had like Stroh's Beer got involved. I mean, all the big advertisers got involved. They built cars to have down there. I mean, it was a big deal. And then it seemed like it just kind of fell off a little bit down here in Georgia. And I just quit.
Well, that World of Wheels in Georgia too, because you had to be invited. You couldn't just pull up with your rig and get in that show.
Right.
Of course, that we all got invited down there. Derek Bradshaw and Mike, I can't think, Mike Allen, then me and Justin. They invited all of us to bring our trucks down there. Justin actually won money and his class with his truck, and he got a Rising Star Builder Award, and the best build in his truck was in primer, but he got money, and they enjoyed seeing him. I think he was 21 at the time. That they enjoyed seeing someone build a truck like that at his age.
That's cool.
Because most of them kids, at that age, a lot of them's into them front wheel drive cars and stuff, and them cars are okay, but they just were a young person built something old school like that, and when we went in Sunday morning, all of these guys come with clipboards, and they come and got Justin, and they walked around his truck. I guess they did sort of like a thing just to make double sure that he was the one that built it. And they let him explain exactly what was right about the truck and what was wrong about the truck and everything. So they knew that he built the truck, And it was it was a good show. Of course, we drove our trucks down there. It's in January, and drove them. We was able to get motels close to the Congress Center, so we was without a car the whole weekend. We drove them, and see, once you put them in the show, you don't get them out till Sunday evening. So then when we drove them back, it was snowing. We had to drive our trucks back in the snow, but luckily it didn't get too bad. But it was a good time. That was in 2010 when we all went down there and won.
So now, has any of y'all been to SEMA?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Is SEMA an invitational only too?
You have to have a business license. There's something in the trades.
Okay.
Some of it to the public, but it used to be you had to be in publication or in the automotive trade.
Right.
I want to go to that.
Well, I think basically since we're YouTube creators, if we start building stuff where we're actually building something, we could probably take our stuff that we're building to SEMA, I'd say.
Well, I can't say anything much about the show that they got down there yet that they're having down in Florida at Emerald Coast, but he's got a couple of guests that's coming. It's going to be a pretty big deal, that's involved with some of that stuff out there. I think it's going to be really cool, but he hadn't announced it yet. He hadn't got it all buttoned down, but I think that's going to be a pretty good deal. Me being the MC, I guess I get to announce and hang out with him. I'm going to tell him I'm Copperhead from Copperhead Customs.
Spoonful of Vegemite.
Yeah.
I brought
some of that with you.
Yeah.
When's the Emerald?
The accent.
When is it?
Yeah.
I got to work on my accent.
You got to look at g'day. You don't have the right g'day.
I hadn't tasted that Vegemite yet, but I bet it'd be a real good rub to go on something you was going to smoke. You could probably rub it on there and then smoke it, and probably get some flavor out of it.
I'm not tried it yet either, but I'm guessing by the look in Copperhead's face, it's probably a hard no.
No. You just rub it in the garage and the garbage can. Just rub it in there.
He's starting to second guess his idea of moving to America with thoughts like that, I think.
Well, now, Copperhead, in Australia, is it like it is in America? Like down south, everybody talks like this. They say you want to and you eat, and then you got like Jim, he's up there north. Y'all have like different languages, or everybody's
there is different accents, but you probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't really pick them, but we can.
Oh, you can pick them over here. We have such drastically different accents all over.
You can tell the difference on the stuff you've watched here, can't you?
Up here in Queensland, see, I'm not from here, so I talk a bit different than most Queens. But they say we say pool and school, right? In Queensland, they say pool and school, like they're different a little bit.
They're more sophisticated than.
Well, I think they they are, but I don't know if they are.
Well, there's different terminologies for different areas. Like in Chicago, we talk about pop, that's soda. You have expressways, where in LA it's freeways. So it's also regional not only the accent but the words you say too.
Yeah, see, I could pick like someone up the top there, or New York, or Chicago, or whatever, and then you listen to on your show on your radio the other day, Stephen. There's some lady rang up, and she had the biggest Southern twang I've ever heard. Like that was she was twiddling wood on the porch. I think that one. Like,
yeah, she's from South Georgia now. She's down from South Georgia. That's where she's down there next to the. That's where you want to live at.
That's stronger again, isn't it?
Well, then you get the other direction. You got north.
Right.
Don't forget the Canadians, like go out and about and about, eh?
And then, I say the hoopty.
Up in Massachusetts, like, how do you guys say the word B-O-B?
B-O-B, Bob?
Bob. That's what everybody else says. But up in Massachusetts, they say Bob.
Bob.
Coffee. Lots of coffee.
We were going out to a place up in Athol, Massachusetts. It was called Athol Furniture. And the first time up there, my dad got lost. So he pulled into the service station. And he goes in. There's a couple guys sitting there. And he says, do you know where Athol Furniture is? And the guy looks at my dad. He goes, you ain't from around here, are you? And my dad goes,
outsider.
He says, because you said furniture, not furniture. So up there it's furniture. Hey, Bob, get the furniture.
You got a Sox fan on now.
What's that?
You got a Sox fan on now. Helen.
Yeah.
He's in South Georgia, but he's a Chicago Sox fan. He's got to be. He's from the South Side.
There you go. A question for you. What do you call the traffic lights on the corners?
Wait a minute.
What? Well, what it is.
Faded out just a second to get that. What do you say?
I'll just use an example. My wife and I, when I lived in Los Angeles, we came back and I went up to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and I wanted to find out where some of my relatives were buried in a cemetery. So I walked into a Burger King and I said, "Yeah, I need to look for this place. Do you know where it is?" She goes, "Oh yeah, just go down the street and at the stop and go light, make a right turn and go up." Now it's like, okay, because we call them traffic lights, but it's like they particularly say stop and go lights. What's in Georgia? Or what's in Australia? What do you call them? Do you call them stop and go lights?
Lights. Go 3 lights.
Yeah, go through the lights. Turn left at the lights.
Alan's writing in Cape Chicago. He's down in Georgia now.
You go the red light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now down here in Hiawassee, if you was to ask that, we'd say, now you go down yonder to the big oak tree and make a hard left, and then there,
Our first time to Hiawassee, we were looking for a auto parts store, and we asked this one guy directions, and he says, "You know where the Ingalls is?" And we said, "Yeah." He goes, "You take a left next to it." So not just it. And we were like, my dad looks at me and goes, "It?"
Oh my God.
I don't know, man. I'm Southern as they get, man. Some of that stuff that I can't comprehend. But we went up north up there where all them, what's them guys' name? Guys and girls don't have no electricity and drive them dang horse and buggies all over the place.
The Amish, the Mennonites.
Yeah, and they got this big restaurant up there where they set everybody down at one table. And so they set me down at this table. Me and my wife, we sat down at this table, and across from us was some people from New York. We had people there from California, and I can't remember. And I could not eat because they kept trying to get me to talk. They wanted to hear me. Oh, I just love the way you keep talking. I'm trying, So, and then you talk about Cajuns, man. You get down towards the Cajun area, and I can't understand what they say.
Yeah,
I have 3 friends I go on a power tour with that are legit Cajuns. They are the real deal. And you get some alcohol in them, you can't. Laissez bon temps rouler. They're Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Yeah.
I can't understand
them are what you call general RCAs. And people just have to look up what that means. But I lived down there in Baton Rouge for a while. And they're good people, but of course, that Cajun cuisine, you can't beat. That's some of the best eating in the world down there.
Well, they're really to themselves too. If you get real Cajuns, they don't like you outsiders.
Right. And see, I was just a little kid in '81 back whenever I was there, and them fellers was as good as gold to us as kids.
Right.
I
don't know, man. I love the food.
My sister had a couple friends that were Australian. They were here on an exchange program, and my mom made me tell them an Australian joke, and they didn't. It went over like a lead balloon for them.
Hey, we ain't heard no Australian jokes. Y'all got jokes about Americans down there? Y'all tell?
No, I don't know.
I don't know if I can tell this or not.
The United States, so you don't want to say it.
I don't know. I really don't. I can't think of anything.
All right,
my buddy's from New Zealand, and he's got all kinds of Australian jokes. I have to see if I can remember them.
Yeah, just if you ever have your New Zealand people around and you've got sheep, go put them away.
Yeah. He's my dad.
Now it's coming.
This guy, he's got no arms and 3 eyes, and he's hitchhiking. He's stuck outside all day long, and everybody's just driving past this guy, and he's trying to catch a ride, sticking his toe out, whatever he can do to try to catch a ride, and nobody's stopping. So finally, this Australian guy pulls up, and he says, "You need a ride, mate?" And he says, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Everybody keeps driving by me like I'm some kind of monster." So the Australian guy looks at him and goes, "Oi, oi, oi, you look armless."
Where's your lead balloon?
Okay. Is that how my accent sounds like what you did?
No, nothing like it.
That's your voice, man. That's your voice.
Because you sounded like Paul Hogan. If I sound like that, I'm going to learn how to talk again.
The 2 girls, when I told them that joke, they just looked at each other and said, "That doesn't sound Australian at all. Queensland, maybe." And they just walked away.
All right, serious question is, how many cars are you allowed to sell a year?
Every state is different.
Yeah.
Wisconsin was 7. Illinois was 10. I don't know what Tennessee is. They haven't red flagged me yet.
I don't think.
And then what? Then you'd have to get a dealer's license.
Dealer's license. Anything past that is a dealer's license. Although you can run them through your family too. Kids, wife, dog.
So same sort of thing. What about buying cars, damaged cars at auction?
And once again,
and then selling them.
That varies the state. Wisconsin, you cannot resell rebuilder cars. Illinois, you can. It varies from state to state again, but they have to be deemed as a rebuilder's title.
Well, now, the last I remember in Georgia, you had to have a builder's license. You had to have
a
Do you need a ticket for that?
I built a Copart wrecked police car just a couple of years ago. All you got to do in Georgia, anybody can build one in Georgia. You can buy one like from Copart because that's where most of your wrecked cars come from. And you have to have all the receipts for the parts that needed to be replaced because of the wreck. Or in this case, I had a donor car that I had the title on, and the state took the title to that donor car. But see, so I showed him where the parts came from, where I fixed the car. And the good thing, one thing about Georgia, if you get a you get that salvage car and you sell it to another individual, they don't have to pay ad valorem tax on the car because the state sees the car as valueless. So there's no ad valorem tax on the car.
I've got a question. Who? Okay, Georgia. If the car is an 87 or older, you don't have to have a title.
I thought it was 85. I thought they cut it off at 85.
25 years, I thought is what they're rolling at.
Well, they're starting to issue titles on older stuff now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Georgia will not issue anything above 1961 because nothing in Georgia ever had a title beyond 61. So
Okay,
since 1900 to 1961, no car in Georgia ever had a title.
My question is, Flat Broke, what is Tennessee? How's Tennessee on that?
Tennessee is as far as what, getting a title or rebuilders?
When are you required? What year is required to have a title in Tennessee?
25 years. Well, they're all required to have titles. But see, now I bought cars that don't have titles, but I do have kids that live in Georgia that is a no title state.
Right.
So all you have to do is own a car that's not in the system.
Okay,
So
I'm good with that.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I know.
Okay, so if you have a car that's not in the system, what you do is you go online to Georgia, you print a Georgia, it has to be a state Georgia bill of sale. You fill it out with whoever, I put my kid's address on it and I make it out to me. Now, Tennessee will honor Alabama and Georgia. They're two states that do not have titles. And basically I have a title and plates in my hand instantly and a title in 2 weeks.
Okay,
no questions asked.
Because it's 25 years or older. Does that change every year?
I think it does, because that goes the same way with the license plates too.
Because I know Georgia used to be 15 years or older and it changed every year. So then for some crazy reason in 87, that's when they changed. So basically I'm thinking, Sean, that an 86 actually does not require a title, but an 87 does require a title. So 25 years or older in Tennessee, you do not have to, and then next year it'll go up a year.
Well, yeah, you have to have a title, but they'll issue you one. If you don't have one, they'll just give you one.
But if you've
got a Georgia tag receipt,
yeah,
and you're a Tennessee resident, they'll give you the title for the car.
Yeah, I got
or you just make up a receipt. I just print a receipt and it has to be a legitimate person from Georgia.
Right.
I just put my kid's name on it with no tag receipt, and it's not in the system, so they have no way of running the number to find out. They just say, here.
Okay, so what year right now do you not have to have a title for in Tennessee?
Well, you need a title every year in Tennessee, but they just give them to you.
Okay, so I see where Steve's getting tripped up at. Steve, when you put a car on the road in Tennessee, they'll issue you a title.
Yes.
So if you're buying it from a state like Georgia that doesn't issue the title, as long as you have a bill of sale from the person you bought it from, when you bring it to Tennessee, they'll issue you the title. Now, in North Carolina, I'm still waiting on my title for the T-Bird.
North Carolina, they require a title no matter how old the car is, right?
Yeah. If I was going to buy a car from you, Steve, being in Georgia, I'd have to get a notarized bill of sale from you and a copy of the current tag receipt, and then a copy of the bill of sale, not necessarily notarized, from the guy you got it from, if you don't have a title.
Now, what about you, Jim? How is it in Chicago up there?
Miserable. Well, you have to have a title, just similar to what Tennessee does.
Yeah. And so what you're saying is, if you have a car with no title, you buy it with Georgia bill of sale, you take it to Tennessee, you can get a title, and now you've got a car you can sell anywhere with a title.
Yeah, but the thing, you have to be Copperhead, you have to be a resident of Tennessee to get a Tennessee title.
Right. Now I've gotten 3 titles for my friends where same thing. They have a car with no title, it's not in the system, and I'll just do the paperwork, put it out my kid, and then my friend's got a title for a 65 Mustang.
Some states are a lot easier than others. North Carolina's real bare when it comes to the old stuff. And it's so like when I moved down from New York, anything 72 work does not have a title. It's a transferable registration because they lost their records in a fire. So they just use transferable registrations. So when I came down here with all my old stuff, putting it on the road for the first time, a state inspector had to come out and do an inspection on, theft inspection on all my old stuff before they would issue a title on it. And it can be a real pain in the neck sometimes. Like I'm still waiting on the title for the T-Bird. And when did I buy that back? When did we get that car? That was
summer. That was this summer, wasn't it?
I think it was October.
Yeah.
September.
Now, Georgia, titles are back within a week down in Georgia. You file it, they issue it right there at the counter.
Right. We get it in 2 weeks. They hand you your license plates when you register and a registration and a copy of the title. But in Tennessee, then the title comes in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we get that work, but then I've had them as quick as 2 weeks, but I've had them take as long as 6 months to get a title. It's ridiculous.
in Copperhead in Georgia, if it's an 86 or older, all I need to go and register my car at the tag office is a bill of sale from the previous owner that I bought it from. And if they have a tag receipt, yes. If they don't, that's fine. But I can go with a bill of sale, no title or nothing.
Yep.
And register that car in Georgia, get a tag, and they'll put it in my name, but I will never receive a title for it. They will not issue a title in Georgia for that.
Yeah, so
Your registration is your title in Georgia.
To certain states, would you?
Do what now, Copperhead?
You wouldn't be able to sell that car to certain states who would require a title, yeah?
Okay, yes. If I sell it, all I've got to do for them to do it is North Carolina requires 2 bill of sales. So like from me to if I sold it to Eastern Hot Rod, it'd be from me to him, and then the bill of sale from me from who I got it from, and then the tag receipt or that I had the car registered to me. So they can take 2 bill of sales and the tag receipt from my car, and they will issue a title in North Carolina.
But now Illinois and Wisconsin will not honor Georgia.
See, that's crazy. But now I sold a 03 BMW Z3 Roadster to a guy, and he come down and pick it up, and it was at a shop, and he delivered cars. He happened to come by, see the car over there at the shop, and he said, I want to buy that. So I sold it to him, and he was going to come pick it up. Well, he showed up a day early, and I said, well, you know, just pay the guy or whatever, and I can mail you the title or what. And I don't remember what state he is from. He said, man, I don't even need the title. He said, I don't have to have a title where I'm at. Don't worry about it. Just throw it away. And I wonder what state that was at. And that was like an 03 model.
Alabama.
They were.
Rhode Island doesn't need a title either.
Yeah. Rhode Island's another one. I don't know if Missouri does or not either.
So. You was talking about Illinois don't recognize Georgia's legal documents.
What you have to do in Illinois is you have to get a bonded title. You go in with the Georgia bill of sale, and you have to bond up a percentage of the value of the car for 3 years. Yeah. It's a lot more paperwork in Illinois and Wisconsin to get titles. They're real bears about it. And
Detroit, I know Detroit. I sold the pink van that I built, Vanther. It went to Detroit, and that fella got the title for it.
Right. You can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but they won't honor Georgia bill of sale as a title. You have to bond it.
Well, now I bought a lot of cars out of like Asheville, North Carolina, and up in that area that they'd lost a title. I couldn't get a title, but it was an 86 or older. And I bought it for real good deals because they can't get a title issued. And I bring them down here, tag them, and go.
In North Carolina, it has to be notarized. The title has to be notarized as well. So, if you get caught with they call it an open title, where either your name, the buyer isn't filled out, or it's not notarized, it's a felony.
Well, now down in Georgia, we don't have to notarize our titles because they still trust us down here.
Yeah.
They know how y'all are over there.
I think to bring cars to Australia, you have to have a title.
I bet, yeah.
We have to have your title to prove the car's all legit.
Yeah.
But I live in a county with 3 traffic lights, so
Yeah.
It's a Wild West here. So
what do y'all do?
Not stop and go lights? Should I not stop and go lights?
No, they're traffic lights or lights. If you there's not enough of them.
Pop or soda. It's Coke down here, man. It's Coke. Everything's Coke. Bring me a Coke. I want a Coke.
You know, linguistic specialists have key words that they'll ask people, and they can tell you what part of the country you're from in the United States. And one is tartar sauce. The other one is how you say pen. And then there's also key words on how you define it, being pop or soda, cola. But there's another one. I can't remember all of them, but there were 7 of them. But one that my students were cracking up laughing the other day is I talked about putting the cart back at the supermarket.
Yeah.
And the cart,
it's a bug.
It's a bug. Cart is a carton of cigarettes. I said, no, a carton is a carton of cigarettes. And a cart is something you can put things in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A buggy is something you put a baby in or drive on the dunes.
Okay. No. Jim, you'll get a kick out of this one. You know the hats that you put on in the wintertime? Sometimes they have a little ball on the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They call them toboggan. That's a sled up north. A toboggan sled hat.
Yeah, but you know what they call them way up north? They call them tukes, eh?
Oh, really?
They're called tukes. Yeah. That's Canadian.
We call them
What do you call them,
toboggans
John?
down here.
We just call them.
Yeah.
What about other countries with the bonnet and the windscreen and aluminum? How do you say it?
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Yeah.
Aluminium. That's it.
Yeah,
What
you
is
got
that? I don't even know what that
boot,
is.
the bonnet.
It's aluminum.
Aluminum.
Oh, that's
Aluminum.
one thing you say that cracks me up is the tray, meaning the bed. We call it the bed of a truck. You call it
Or the box. In the
Yeah.
box.
we call it a box bed.
He calls the hood the bonnet,
Yep.
the windscreen, and then the boot. I use the boot.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
talking
boot.
about the trunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Or then there's deck lid. Why is it called a deck lid when you call it a trunk?
You know why they call them trunks here, though? Because originally that's where you put the steam trunk on the back of the car.
Right.
Yep.
So they
There
were
you go.
on in the teens and 20s
But
And
why
then-
is it called a deck lid though that covers it?
because that's where you would put the deck, I guess, if you're in Winnebago.
That's where the patio chair goes. I don't know.
That's where you sit on the deck where you have your beer with you.
So why do we park in a driveway and drive in a parkway?
Oh, now you get
Hey,
brother.
that's very true.
now, see, I'm just going to go start eating gummies now to start playing this
Yeah.
game.
Why did the chicken cross the
You know-
road?
Yeah, he's a good one.
gotta-
You call it drywall. We call it gibrock.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Gibrock.
Gibrock. We call it sheetrock or drywall.
Or rock board. I've heard it called rock board.
Wallboard.
Yeah, wall board, rock board, blue
I'm
board.
gonna tell you, folks, there's a couple of jobs that just like pouring concrete or putting up sheetrock. I poured concrete, and the whole time I was out there, I never thought for once, boy, I'd like to do this for a living, man. That's just some of that stuff I don't. Pouring concrete's rough. Sheetrock, man, you talking about working your hind end
That's
off.
why this wall's pallet wood, because I hate sheetrock.
Well, see, that's where I was a bit stupid. So, but over here, you have shingles
Yeah,
on your
right.
roofs, yeah? Like, they're all light. Like, so we have roof tiles that are made out of concrete,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
right? So they're heavy as. They're like 5 kilos of tile,
Wow.
So
We
I
used
did an
to work-
electrician apprenticeship and finished it and hated it. And then I went and became a roof tiler.
That's hard
And for
work.
10 years, or 10 or 12 years, I was a roof tiler, like killing my body,
Oh,
throwing weights around. But I looked like Arnie Schwarzenegger when I was doing it. But
how long does the tile last? I mean, they'd have to last forever.
yeah, they last a fair while. Eventually, the paint stuffs up on them, and then they'll become porous. But basically, then you can clean them and reseal them and paint them.
We got Alan on the ball here. Why they call them apartments when they're all stuck together? I'm with you, man.
You're not
This is what's interesting about this show. We talk about cars, we go to linguistics, we do all kinds of stuff
That's
all
right.
over the place.
We're
Right?
educated.
Every now moment.
All right, here's something else.
Yeah, there's
So,
some.
changing topic again. Back on the cars. When you sell cars occasionally, yeah. So, how much are you over here? The people have turned into idiots. How much are you getting hammered on prices? So, say you put a car up for, if I put a car up for $6,000 here, I will get hammered with offers of three grand.
If you put it on Facebook Marketplace, there's always that idiot.
Yeah.
So we get hammered with them, like, and they don't even. It's not. We're not talking a $500 markdown or like. It's half your price or less. They offer you.
No way.
Facebook Marketplace, and if you put something on for 10 grand, your first offer is some douchebag saying $3 grand today, cash.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Always
Well,
fun.
I'd say, how else you buying it with freaking cheap, mate? Like,
Yeah.
What else are you going to use to pay for it?
Right.
Yeah, they're just low ballers is what I call them. Low ballers, just trying to get that deal. And you never know when somebody's like, okay, I'll take that or whatever. But
I've been an idiot too. I have lowballed the people. I'm just like, what can it hurt?
oh, there he is. It's flat broke. Okay, tell him what's going on with that. He's the one. He's him.
I'm him.
Dude, how we do it down this way? There he is. It's him. It's
Anybody
him.
serious
It's him.
going to beat you up. They're going to, if you're asking a fair price, then they're going to give you a fair offer. And you always go to tit for tat, come in a couple grand less and you hit them back with a little bit less and you play the game. But the guys that aren't serious are going to try to cut your prices in half and stuff. But I've also seen it the other way, where the one thing I see a lot lately is this stupid thing where it's like, I want 20 grand, but trade value is much higher. It's like, okay, well then I'm going to say that my $10,000 car's trade value is 30 grand and we can trade straight for it then, right?
One thing that I hate about that is it's got already programmed. I don't know about down there, but on Facebook Marketplace, if you want to message them, it's already programmed. Hi, is it still available? And then when you put something on, you get like 50,000 messages.
You can erase all that. It's real easy to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Really? You just click ahead of it and just get rid of that.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just put your cursor at the end of that and hit backspace and get rid of all of it.
I know. I'm just saying though, they do that. I mean, when you put
they do that purposely. Yeah,
and you get like 50,000 people saying, "Is it still available? Is it still available?"
Nobody ever. I've accidentally sent people that trying to forward that. That.
Me too.
Accidentally hit the button, and then I have to explain to them they did it by mistake. And but I don't know. I try to. I figure having good etiquette on there is good. If whatever I have is sold, I try to take it down as soon as possible. But if it doesn't, if somebody didn't buy it yet, I leave the ad up, and as soon as it's sold, I'll let the other people know.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sold in 3 hours, and some guy gave me a hard time and said that I was a jerk because I didn't tell him right away. I was like, dude, it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
I check Facebook all the time. I check it maybe once a day. I go and check things for sale, but I don't have Messenger on my phone. So
I bought a truck just a couple of days ago, and I went through Facebook on that, and it went really good. I mean, it was a good, but I was concerned about it being a scam because there's a lot of scams out there.
Oh, there is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I hate that. And then I hate people, and if y'all listening out there, if you put something on Facebook, put a dang price on it. Don't put taking best offers. I ain't even clicking on
or
it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, what is it with people like, of course,
I think they don't put a price on it because they're asking so much money that they're embarrassed to even put the price down.
The people that's got a price, and then you message them, you're interested in you interested in the item. This happened just this week. And anyway, put in, and you can see whenever they see your message. Whenever they click in.
Alan's a guy, he's lowballing at 35, got it for 800.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Alan.
See, that ain't the way I learned to buy cars. I learned how to buy cars by watching the movie Christine. That boy right there shows you how to buy a car. You walk up to the guy and you just ask him what he wants for it, because whatever it is, it's not enough.
Yeah.
That's how I buy stuff.
I'm back. I'll pay $1,000 for it. I'll fix it up, and I'll get $500 for it when I sell it. That's the way.
It devalues after you get through with it.
No, but when I bought the Falcarino from Steve there in the junkyard, and then the Jeep and stuff, is when he gives you a price, that's pretty much it. If you negotiate with him, because that car's been sitting there 28 years, he don't care if you live or die. This is the price, and the price he gave me were fair, I thought, for what they were. So I didn't even beat him up, because you're better to, if you're in, then you're in. You're better to pay his price, and then you get a little more down the road, just to show him you're a straight up guy. If you go in there and cut him by half, he ain't gonna let you back on the property.
No.
Well, if somebody
when I sell stuff, if I'm buying something, I research the seller before I do anything as well, right? So if they've got 30 cars up for sale, then I know they're not going to really negotiate much, stuff like that. And so when I'm selling stuff, I've generally got 10 cars on the market. So obviously you can look at my profile and see I don't really need the money.
Right.
So my price is kind of like you said, that's my price. I'll negotiate a couple of $100 here or there.
Sure.
But if you're going to offer me thousands and thousands less, you're just going to get told to, not real polite.
Don't waste my time,
What always gets me is when you're like, example, is they don't give you a good description of the item. say for example, easy example is you're selling a set of 15-inch wheels for like Riley wheels for like a Corvette or something, and they put on wheels for sale, Corvette wheels or whatever, but they didn't even tell you what size they are.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta ask them those questions. Same thing with you're buying a desk. Well, how big is the desk? You know,
Right.
put the dimensions in it. Sometimes these people just put stuff out there. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
The biggest thing to me is the price. I want a price. If it ain't got a price on it, I ain't looking at it. I mean,
No, I'd skip straight past it. He wants too much.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. He wants
or he's playing games to try to get some stupid amount of money. You know, he knows he's got crap, but he's trying to turn himself into a millionaire from it.
Yeah.
So, okay, now changing the subject again, not this weekend, but next Saturday, the North Georgia Swap Meet is going to be in Clarksville, Georgia.
Well, I'd like to go to
that's
that.
a little closer.
Yeah,
Where's Clarksville, Georgia?
Clarksville,
Georgia. It's in Georgia.
Go to Helen and turn at the Indian Mound.
Yeah, you got to be
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah,
you got to be
that's
careful.
how we give directions down south.
Yeah, okay.
You do have to.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. The great, wonderful Indian man. I'm gonna get kicked off, but my grandfather said, and he was 97 years old when he passed away. He said that wasn't no Indian mound. You never seen an Indian mound like that. And if you look, he said what they done. He said that was a cotton fields down through there, and they took all the rocks and all that stuff and piled it up there, and that's what that big old. And he said if you look down a little further, when you go down that road, there's another one down there with a house on top of it. And he said that's where they cleaned all the stuff off and piled it up there. But it does got a lot of Indian artifacts in it, which is part of the stuff they piled in there, you know. But he said they wasn't nothing to that. But
so it sounds like Gainesville?
No,
Clarksville. No. You turn there to right on the other side of Helen. We go to Helen and back.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to drive. You can't take a train because the last train to Clarksville left when the Beatles were still there.
Yeah.
And you got to wear clogs when you go to Helen.
Yeah.
No cute, see?
Wooden clogs, isn't it?
That's
No,
what
yeah.
Birkenstocking.
Yeah. Lederhosen. You got to wear the Lederhosen.
And then you got to drink beer from a stein.
That's right. That's right.
See,
Lederhosen.
I'm coming up with it. I've been watching on you.
Yeah. He's going to blend right
Helen,
in when he gets
you
here.
wear a lederhosen to Helen.
I like that guy said we've been to Helen and back. I'm with you on that.
Bill,
They're good.
I'm gonna. My daughter wants to go to slot car races this Friday night. If you want to go,
Where at?
It's over in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Is Ray racing over there? Who's racing there? Do you know?
My buddy Ray, but not Ray Cook. It's a slot car. They're the little scale cars.
Oh, slot car. I thought you said
slot car.
Okay. He thought he was talking about a dirt car.
This is actually, Jim. You'll like this one. This is the one that I built that I want to bring out there. It's a ultra wheelbase 63 Tempest.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
That thing corner good?
No, it's for drag.
Is it a 1/24th scale?
Yeah, 1/24th scale. This is the Funny Farmer model. It was Arnie Beswick modeled after him. They contract Arnie the Farmer. They just called it the Funny Farmer. And
how many volts does them little cars run off of?
I don't know. The guy said that I think it's only about 10 or 15 as far as I could tell, but he said that the transformer will go up to 90 volts. But these things, this one, I haven't run it yet, so I don't know how fast it'll go with this body on it. But when I had it had this little Lexan Mustang body on it when I got it, and that thing didn't weigh anything. So it would run about 43 miles an hour and 55 feet. And it would run 0.84 seconds. So just under a second.
That's pretty
wow. So this body, this one's probably going to go, I imagine, like a second and a quarter, maybe 1/10 is what I'm figuring it'll end up going.
Is it lighter or is it heavier now?
It's a lot heavier because this thing's like all completely hollow. Where this, I don't know if you can see in there. Let's see if I put a full interior in it, and so it's got a lot of weight, which it needed because with this light body, it would kind of take flight once in a while. So I think it'll be a little more.
But it looks really detailed.
Thanks, man. It's the first model I built in a long time. It was fun. It kind of got me hooked on it, but it's there's my buddy Ray and his son Ray. My buddy John Bonnet. John Bonnet is who I got my car from. They let me run their cars a couple weeks ago, so I ended up buying that car from John, and then I had this model kicking around. So that was just a regular scale model build, and I just built the car to fit the chassis. The chassis is a store-bought chassis they went with the Mustang body, and that was ready to run one. But the most of the guys that are running were out in Cleveland. They're running in the 40-mile-an-hour range. But I don't know what the record is. But I was just reading the top fuel class that they run at some of the other tracks are 0.3 something seconds at 146 miles an hour.
Wow.
So
whoa. That's a ballistics report.
I got like $150 into everything, but some of these guys are they'll spend $600 on a controller, $750 on a car. They, like any other motorsport, people throw money at it.
That's the problem. We go to racing, we racing cheap, and then somebody spends $1,000 on the car. You get beat, and you're like, okay, I got to spend $2,000 on mine, where I can blow them away next week.
What's cool about these is they bracket race them like a regular drag strip, so the tree is timed. So if you got a slow car, you got to remember scale quarter mile is only 55 feet. So if you have a slow car, there was a guy that's got a Volkswagen or a little Datsun pickup. He dialed a 1.95. And the guy that raced him had a dial in 0.91. So the slow car got it over a second head start. And, you're either going to red light or the other guy's going to get there first on a short track like that. So sometimes the car wins it,
That's next Saturday.
That's this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
That's why heads up racing's a whole lot easier.
So that'll be Friday. But I got to leave here probably about 4:30 to get there on time because they start
Cleveland
6:30, I think.
You got time? I might cruise over and check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I put a couple videos and shorts and stuff up. Some of them running, but it'll be my first time running that.
Yeah. Yep, I've been watching it, so I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do next. We about got that little dart. It's almost done, and we got that big Dodge. Man, that Dodge, that W300, that's a hoss of a truck. I'm not kidding, but man, it drives that stern on that thing. You can't even feel the steering wheel.
Well, you've got that Thunderbird at the shop you can get and start practicing your electrical wiring.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I need to get that out of the way. I had a lady call me this week. I bought a dang Bronco, and she's like, "You ever going to get this Bronco?" I'm like, "Yeah." Where's that place at anyway? I don't even remember where it was at. So,
what's the story with the LTD sitting at your place, the 4-door?
I am a Gator McCluskey fan, and I've been wanting one of them. That's the second one I bought, but anyway, I went almost to the coast in North Carolina and picked that car up.
I saw that, and that's the first thing I saw, man, the Gator car. I wanted a Gator car.
I'm not going to put all the 4-speed in it. I'm just going to leave it automatic, but it's got drum brakes all the way around, but I've got a Mercury, I don't know, Grand Marquis, the same year model. It's got the big lug pattern. You know what I'm talking about? They had the big lug pattern in this car, but it's got the bigger end in it, and it's got the front disc brakes. So I'm gonna take all that off the Mercury and put on the LTD. And all I gotta do is pull it in and swap it over. It'd be done. I mean, the car cranks and run. But after I got home on the right rear quarter, it got hit hard, man. It got hit hard, and then somebody put a skin over it. But I've got a guy in Cleveland that's got a car. He said he'd sell me the body that I can cut that quarter off and put back on it. But that car is really in good shape, and you can go out there right now and hit the switch on it. It's a 400. Everybody don't like the 400, but it fires right up and runs. Everything works on it, and it's a neat old car. But
I always liked the 400s. The 351Ms was the old asthmatic dogs that didn't have no power. The 400s, some of them would run pretty good.
Well, I don't know. Everybody I'm not a Ford guy. I like Fords. I own Fords. I got a bunch of them, just like I do Chevrolets and everything else. But the 71 400 was the first year they come out, and that's when they started dropping the gas.
Right.
So then they spark knock like terrible. You turn them off, they just keep running because of compression and all that kind of stuff. So then the next year they de-stroked them to where they could lower the compression, where they'd quit all that stuff and made them a dog. But I understand that from what I'm gathering on this thing, this car's got like 400 foot-pounds of torque on that 400. That ought to be plenty to turn a wheel.
You know what they did to them, don't you, Stephen?
They de-stroked them.
No, they didn't de-stroke them. They retarded the cam timing.
Well, they did that too, but they de-stroked them. They lowered the compression. It was having.
Yeah, well, that the 351M, that I think they just where they call it modified 400. So that wasn't D-stroke to make it a 400.
That was a 351 Cleveland that was detuned for the smogs.
Yeah.
Well, they did Cleveland for a couple of years, and they had to meet emissions, and they detuned the Clevelands.
Well, they did the 400 the same way. I know they do. But let me ask, here's the thing about the 400. It's like the oddball. You can't get anything. I think you can put the 351 Cleveland heads on a 400.
Right.
But I don't want to do all that. I bought a 4-barrel intake to go on it. I found one of them.
Yep.
That's like, the Chevrolet, the 400 small block Chevrolet, just about all of them came as 2-barrels. They was all factory 2-barrels.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if in 70 when they came out, if you ordered a 70 Malibu with a 400 2-barrel, you got a small block 400. But if you order 400 4-barrel, you actually got the 402 cubic inch 396, but they called it the 400 in the Malibu. I had one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if y'all seen up there during the video, I've got that old prison van sitting there. I think that's got a 354 bolt main in it. And that truck ain't got it. I think it's got 30,000 miles on it.
Yeah. That's
another thing.
Using 4-bolt mains and stuff. The 400 block that's in my little rat rod, that's a 72. That's a 400 in that, and that's a 4-bolt main block. But the O&O blocks, the Chevy 350 O&O block, a lot of people think that means it's a 4-bolt main. All that means is it's high nickel. I've seen more 2-bolt main O&O blocks than I have 4-bolt main blocks.
Yeah.
It's a high nickel block. It's a much stronger block. So it's a good one if it is a 2-bolt, it's a good one to convert to a 4-bolt main.
Yeah.
Everybody, though, that's all talking street motors with these builds, like they're going to build this or that.
It wouldn't matter.
They can run a cast crank, and they're not making 1,000 horsepower with them engines.
No,
they act like they're going to be burning. They're going to the moon with this thing, and they're not. It's
it ain't that, Sean.
I just watched a video on the Coyote swap for a Ford pickup truck. And now my Ford, I got a short bed, 93 short bed F-150 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And they're doing the Coyote swaps on those. Those are both 302 engines, guys. But one is like 198 horsepower from the factory. The other one's 480 horsepower from the factory. So, you know what I mean? Technology's good for something. Them old engines, they're antiquated, They're same cubic inch, but you just,
where I was just talking about where we went to the World of Wheels, there was 4 of us went down there on 4 trucks. And them fellers, including my son Justin, they all used 9-inch Ford rear ends, but they come out of them 70 smogged cars and trucks. And them 9-inch Ford rear ends that was out there, they are not strong. All they had to worry about carrying was 180 horsepower at most. And every one of them fellers, including my son, tore the rear ends out. They tore the chunks out. And they'd start out with a single traction rear end. This is how you know when you've got an open 9-inch Ford rear end and it starts out doing one-wheel burnouts. When suddenly it starts doing posi burnouts, it's not going to live long because the carrier is twisted and it's locking both spider gears in. And then it don't live much longer after that.
I reckon I got across a Teletop machine here. My brother just watched that video where we fixed that Dodge truck, that big W300. And he's like, which I don't remember that, but he's older than I am. He said that black Dodge truck has a gas leak, gas tank behind the seat that leaks gas into the cab. Don't blow yourself up. So I think I need to go check and see, man. I might have just lost 5 gallons of gas.
Oh man!
Did you put that aviation fuel in it?
Yeah,
it's evaporated if it's got a hole, so it'll evaporate pretty quick.
I hope so, because I don't want to get in with Mike, and Mike locked his cigarette up. He always carries that cigarette everywhere he goes.
As long as you ain't got corn oil gas in there. Now the corn oil gas, it'll leave a residue and still be flammable, but that good gas, it'll evaporate. It'll be gone.
I don't use that corn junk.
I've heard stories of gas tanks that have been sitting for 30 years that have been empty, and people go to cut them open, they still burn.
Yeah.
That stuff gets entrained in that metal in that gas tank, and it doesn't go away. I don't like having to weld on a gas tank.
No. You fill it full of water before you weld.
No, full of gas. Fill it full of gas first, then you weld.
No, what I do is I purge it. I'll put an exhaust and run an exhaust into it. They purge out all the oxygen. That way, there's no way you can burn.
Yeah, that'll work too.
Yeah, I've done that with a few different gas tanks where I had to weld a sump on the bottom of them. Just run a exhaust. I use like a vacuum tube hose and run it up to my garden tractor, and then run that in there. Let it run for a few minutes, and then make sure it purges all that oxygen out of there. And
I always
hopefully it's not running too rich.
If you use duct tape, it's not flammable.
Boom! What the heck?
There's a blue F100 I've seen
at my place.
One. Yeah,
it's a 54.
Yeah, does that go?
Oh yeah, it'll crank and run, drive where you want to. We drive it.
Did you ever take pictures?
Drive that around or not?
Yeah, we drive it around. We mostly in parades and stuff like that, but it's all bone stock, man. It's a 6-cylinder bone stock, drum brakes. I'll never forget, we got a thing over here called Young Harris Mountain. I have to go across to go to the radio station. I drove it over there one day, and I called Georgia Overdrive neutral. So I just throwed that thing up neutral because it's geared really low. I started going down that Young Harris Mountain. I got about 65, 70 mile an hour in that thing. I reached down and got the brakes, and son, I went from one side of the road all the way. I didn't know where I was going to end up. So now I don't get over about 50 mile an hour. I'm scared to death of it. But it's fun to drive around town. It's a lot of fun.
Did you get any pictures of it, Stephen, whenever I painted the wheels for you?
No, I didn't. And Evan still ain't got over that. He's still mad at you about that.
Did you take your Dodge to
check for
work the other day?
Do what?
What's that, Copperhead?
Did you take the Dodge to the radio the other day?
I took the Blues Brothers car. I think it's the last one I drove over there.
Oh, okay. Well, because you said something about you drove the truck or something.
Yeah, my wife made me buy a car. She got tired. I drive junk, and I don't mind it until somebody rides with me, and then it's kind of embarrassing. So we got this thing down in Florida I got to go down to, and I was going to drive the minivan. I got a little minivan. She's like, I'm not riding down there. Go buy something good. So anyway, I went and bought a truck last week and been sporting around in it. It's got air conditioning, power steering.
What kind of truck is it?
I don't even want to tell you because y'all make fun of me.
I know it's a dang Ford, ain't it?
No.
It's a Mahindra.
A Mahindra.
You bought one of them dang electric things, didn't you?
Yeah, I got electric. No, I bought a 06 Toyota Tundra, the big truck 4-door.
Oh gosh.
Gas sucking pig.
I don't care.
That's one of them rigs you pour rice down where the gas.
See, I told you y'all start in on me.
V8, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a V8. It'll
that thing will drive forever.
Yeah, that's a good truck.
Hey, I got
Toyota has kept, you'll see these car guys that do these road tests and everything, and they're always saying, oh, Toyota is the plainest truck out there, but they keep their truck simple, and I think that's why they've got the following that they've got. They don't put no stupid nonsense on their trucks. Now, of course, the new ones that they come out with may start, but all you need is it to start, have a radio, headlights, heater, and AC, and you don't really need much more than that to pick up.
I was blown away the seat area. Like these Dodge, when you get a 4-door Dodge, you're sitting up straight, but this thing's got a lot of leg room in the back. It's fairly comfortable. It's got armrest and all. I mean, it's got 150,000 miles on it. It's a good looking little truck.
Hey,
I mean, it's a full size.
My buddy's got a truck that would be perfect for your wife's antique shop.
What is it?
It's a, trying to remember what year. I believe it's a 40 Ford sedan delivery. Panel truck.
Right.
But the whole truck's been mounted on like a 2003 or so all-wheel drive Explorer chassis. It's got a full drivetrain, modern drivetrain, air conditioning, all that other stuff, and it's all fit on there. It sits nice, and he's got the paint to finish it, and it needs an interior, but he's got the paint for it, and I think he's still got the Explorer seat, but it's got the Explorer gauges and everything are built into, custom built the dash to hold the Explorer gauges. So all the wiring and everything is all Ford Explorer. And
so how much you want for it?
I think he's asking $18,500. That's exactly what he's got into it. He said if he gets his money back out of it, he'll sell it.
$18,500? I'll give him $800. I'll do like Alan cars.
There you go.
I'll give him $800.
Hey, guys, I got to leave you again. My phone is I can't go 2 hours with my brightness turned up.
Oh, we need to get gone too, man. We've jogged too much, but anyway,
Yeah.
My phone's blinking. It's dead.
I put my email address out there. I've been trying, I've got a couple of folks have been trying to come on with us, but if you put your email address in the comments, it won't put it on their page for some reason.
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
I didn't know that. So, and I got a couple of guys I was going to try to get in and join with. It's got some cool stuff going on some of their channels, but anyway.
Yeah.
But
all right, guys, I'm dead. I will talk to you next week.
All right, man.
Easy.
Be good.
You guys, I gotta go too.
All right, man. We'll talk to you next week.
So,
Everybody's leaving.
It's just us left, man.
See, I always plug my phone in because I know it won't make it the whole time.
But I'm at my home computer. I do a lot of this stuff here. So
yeah, I got my old laptop I'm using for this.
yeah, it works good. So
I'm on my new iPhone and it's still holding in there. I don't know how. I guess I could probably go another hour.
well, let's tell everybody bye. But y'all hold on a minute. I'll talk to you a minute before we get going here. But we're gonna get off. We've been at 2 hours, and so we'll be. Appreciate y'all listening, and then y'all got my email address. Send us an email, and we'll hook you up next week. Maybe y'all can join us. So
it was fun.
We appreciate that. Been a lot of fun.